Welcome to the Socialogue Getting Started video. During this video, we will go through the steps required to set up your Socialogue account. This includes setting up entities, brands, competitors, and themes. Before we get started, however, it will be useful to explain exactly what we mean when we refer to entities, brands, competitors, and themes. When we use the term entity, we are referring to the primary organization for which you want to organize your social media management. For example, an entity can be a company, a political campaign, a book author, or a nonprofit organization. When we use the term brand, we are referring to the concept of brand in the traditional sense. For example, Chevrolet and Cadillac are brands of the General Motors entity. It is important to note that many times an entity itself, for example in this case General Motors, is also a brand. When we refer to competitors, we are referring to competitors at the brand level. For example, competitors to the Chevrolet brand might be Ford and Chrysler. It is important to note that there are no hard and fast rules for setting up entities, brands, or competitors in Socialogue. We have purposely designed Socialogue so that you can have a great deal of flexibility in setting up your social media campaigns. For example, we could have just as easily made Ford and Chrysler a competitor to the General Motors brand instead of to the Chevrolet brand. Themes are a powerful feature of Socialogue which allow you to track topics which may be relevant or related to your entity and or brand. For example, themes which may be related to General Motors entity or the Chevrolet brand may include electric cars, gas mileage, American-made automobiles, or the automobile industry. When you log into Socialogue for the first time, you will notice that Socialogue has created an entity for your personal brand. In this case, my personal entity is JM Golden. On this drop-down menu, you will notice other entities which I manage. And for each entity, I may have several brands that I manage. With Socialogue, once you are registered with a user account, you can easily add entities, brands, competitors, and themes to your Socialogue account. Right now, we are going to create a new entity. In order to create a new entity, click on the Entity Listing menu in the left navigation bar. This will generate a list of entities which you manage. In order to create a new entity, click on the Add Entity button at the bottom of the list. Enter an entity name as well as a web URL for this entity. Please note that when you enter an entity name, Socialogue will automatically create a brand entry for that new entity name. So, for example, if I create a new entity, Wallace Automotive, a brand will also be created for Wallace Automotive. Socialogue uses brand names, competitor names, and theme names in order to search the Facebook and Twitter streams for mentions of a brand, competitor, or theme. Please note that these searches are phrase specific. So, for example, Socialogue will search for Wallace Automotive as a phrase, as opposed to searching for Wallace and Automotive individually. With the entity created, we can now add brands for this entity. In this example, I'm going to enter the name of our new electric car, the Wallinator. With the Wallinator brand entered, I am now going to enter competitors. At the brand level, I can add competitors to what I want to track. By adding a competitor here, I will be able to gain access to the public posts on Facebook, as well as to all tweets and retweets on Twitter that mention this competitor. In this example, I am going to add General Motors as a competitor to the Wallace Automotive brand. And since General Motors is often referred to as GM, I am going to enter GM as an alias. By doing this, anytime General Motors or GM is mentioned on the public post to Facebook or in a tweet or retweet, I will be able to grab that information. I am also going to enter a competitor directly to the Wallinator brand, in this case, the Chevy Volt, another electric car. With brands and competitors entered, I am now going to enter some themes that I want to track. For example, I want to be able to track the theme of electric cars. By entering a theme here, Socialogue will search the public Facebook posts as well as the Twitter stream for mention of electric cars. Adding brands, competitors, and themes and aliases can be a process entailing a little bit of trial and error. For example, if we just entered the word Volt as an alias for the brand name Chevrolet Volt, since Volt is such a common name, it will generate a mass of unrelated posts. The next step in the process is to add social networks. On the Social Networks tab, you can authorize Socialogue to access your Twitter account, Facebook account, Google Analytics account, as well as your Bitly account. Please note that before you can authorize Socialogue to access any of these accounts need to be created first in their respective social media networks. In this example, I am going to authorize Socialogue to access the Wallace Company Facebook fan page. Since I already authorized Facebook when I created my initial Socialogue account, I am able to add any page for which I am an administrator within Facebook. So here, I'm going to add the Walls Company page. The same process applies to Google. Whatever pages I am the administrator for within Google Analytics, I can add those pages to any brand which I want to track. You'll notice that there are boxes which allow you to enter a dollar value. This amount is meant to be a value that you place on each user for each respective social media network. This feature is meant to give you a rough raw proxy based on comparable measures of other marketing arenas. For example, if social media is generating site traffic, you may want to set up a proxy for how much you would pay for purchasing keywords or click-throughs. You can also set a value for community members in Facebook or Twitter. These are not meant to be reflective of the intangible values of social media, such as improved product, improved operations, a more informed customer base, etc. This is just a starting point to help you get some hard numbers to support a value of choice that you are making with your social media presence. So now that you have created a brand, competitors, themes, and attached these to social media networks, the final step would be to add additional users to the system. You can add administrators as well as brand managers. Administrators and brand managers do not have to have current accounts with Socialogue. You can add anyone who has an email address, and Socialogue will contact them with the relevant login information. Administrators can invite other administrators and brand managers. However, a brand manager can only be provisioned to work on a specific brand that you have given them permission to. We hope that you have found this video useful. If you have any questions, please contact us at support@socialogue.com.